What would happen if I told you that the reality you experience is nothing more than a precise and obedient projection of what you've already allowed to happen in your mind? What if I revealed to you that by simply visualizing in a certain way, with a certain intensity and method, you could instantly change the invisible threads that sustain your life? This isn't fantasy. This is law. A law so ancient it has been codified in symbols, rituals, and words whispered by sages, but which you will remember today. There was a time when people knew that the universe is not a machine, but a mirror that reflects not what you do, but what you are. And what you essentially are is focused consciousness, formative vibration, silent will. And when this will is projected correctly, matter responds with mystical precision. This video is a revelation, an initiation, not because it says anything new, but because you remember something that has always been within you. The art of visualizing from the right level of consciousness and seeing how reality obeys. We'll explore the profound principles of a knowledge that has been preserved and perfected, yet transcends names and eras. We'll discuss how your brain is a vibrational instrument, how concentration determines your state of consciousness, and how shifting that concentration literally changes your world. You'll discover why closing your eyes is more than just resting. It's about accessing the threshold of the right hemisphere, the portal to the intangible. You'll understand the hidden difference between imagination and visualization, two mental acts that, while similar, operate on different planes of being. On this journey, you'll learn how to mentally position your goals for physical manifestation, how to change your vibrational field with a consciously maintained image, and how to overcome challenges, heal from a distance, or receive information from the subtle without moving from your current location. But I warn you, this information is not entertainment. It is power, the power to create, dissolve, and direct reality with the precision of conscious thought. So close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath, because from now on, you are crossing an invisible threshold where everything you imagine with your soul becomes reality. Are you ready to remember how to duplicate reality from within? Long before screens, networks, or optical lenses existed, people already knew that the most powerful vision is projected not outward, but inward. On prehistoric canvases, the first shamans painted not what they saw with their open eyes, but what they saw with their souls. Mythological animals, as yet unrealized hunting scenes, symbols created in induced trance. All these were ritual visualizations. They didn't decorate walls. They created visions of the future. Ancient cultures understood that physical reality was the ultimate reflection of a series of invisible causes. What we today call creative visualization or mental programming was once called magic, visual prayer, prophecy, inner vision, and active contemplation. Each tradition gave its name, but they all shared one certainty. The inner image, held with intention, changes the course of destiny. In Egypt, temple priests practiced what we would today call telepathic visualization. Locked in chambers of silence, they projected symbols into their minds and recited secret mantras. They created and knew that these images resonated on higher planes, emitting vibrations that reordered events on Earth. It wasn't suggestion, but applied mental geometry. In Vedic India, the rishis spoke of dhyana, deep meditation, in which the sage, by maintaining a mental image with absolute concentration, pierced the veils of Maya, the illusion of form, and transformed the substance of reality. This was the basis of Sankalpa, an intention sown in a heightened state of consciousness, like a seed imbued with divine intent. Western Hermeticism was not without its advantages. Hermes Trismegistus taught that the universe is mental and that everything manifest arises from an archetypal image in the mind of every human being. Initiates of the Greek schools knew that the mental vision of a form signified its birth. Therefore, the symbol was considered the key, and imagination was considered a divine faculty, not a mere child's play. During the Renaissance, mystics such as Marsilio Ficino and Giordano Bruno taught that the soul could attract desired realities through targeted visualization. They used mirrors, mandalas, perfumes, and sounds to induce altered states of consciousness. There, they projected desires that became visions, and visions became actions. It was an alchemy of images. Even in mystical Christian traditions, such as those of Teresa of Avila or Saint Ignatius of Loyola, guided visualization played an essential role. Visualizing the individual steps in Christ's life in detail, color, and emotion was not a passive act of devotion. It was a way of training the soul to change its inner reality and thus its destiny. Today, modern science is only just beginning to explore this truth. Neuroplasticity, epigenetics, brainwave experiments, and altered states of consciousness do not confirm what the ancients already knew. The mind, when properly focused, can heal, create, liberate, and transform. And it all begins with an image. To understand how a simple visualization can instantly change reality, we must abandon a false assumption that the mind is confined to the skull. This notion is part of the dream of matter. In reality, the mind is a field, an antenna, a vibrational architecture that projects patterns into the fabric of the universe. And what you visualize, when done from this perspective, becomes a master plan for the future. But be careful, not all visualizations are the same. What many people call imagination or positive thinking is merely a superficial touch that doesn't move the deeper wheels of destiny. For visualization to be transformative, it must align with certain hidden principles that govern the quantum field and consciousness. The first of these principles is the correct vibration of the mental state. The ancients taught that the mind must operate in an alpha state about 10 cycles per second to access the right hemisphere. Why? Because in this state, the logical, linear, and controlling mind, the left hemisphere, calms down and perception shifts into a deeper, more symbolic realm, more closely connected to the soul. Visualizing from the left hemisphere is like trying to paint with a hammer, but visualizing from the right hemisphere is like writing with light on water. Therefore, before visualizing, one must descend, enter the inner temple. This is achieved through closed eyes, conscious breathing, and letting go of the desire for control. This brings us to the second principle. It's not about seeing with closed eyes, but about remembering with an awakened soul. When you close your eyes and try to see something, you often only see gray or black. This is because you're trying to see with traditional visual focus. The trick is to forget that you have eyes and remember scenes, colors, and shapes as if you were reenacting something that has already happened. True visualization is the emotional reproduction of an inner experience, not the attempt to force an image. One should not search for the image, but rather allow it to emerge as a living memory. That is the key. Reality doesn't bend to your wishes, but rather to what you already perceive as real. Third principle, the image must be emotionally charged. The universe responds to vibrations, not empty words. If you visualize a goal but feel distant, indifferent, or skeptical, you're not activating the right code. However, if you see yourself achieving that goal and feel joy, gratitude, and relief, something is activated. This emotional vibration is the quantum connection that connects the mental image to the physical world. A powerful technique is to fix the visualization on the inner future. According to ancestral teachings, the future should be to your left, as if the mental timeline were projected in front of you. You imagine you've already achieved your goal. You don't think about achieving it one day. You mentally put yourself in the position where it's already happened. They feel the triumph. They enjoy it. They appreciate it. Then, and only then, does this future begin to be absorbed into your present. This kind of visualization is not fantasy. It is drawing. It's about sowing on the subtle level what will blossom on the visible level. And if you do this in the right state, with the right emotion and the right image, reality will inevitably adapt to the shape of your consciousness. So far, we've understood that visualization isn't simply imagining beautiful things, but a sacred act of conscious creation. But the secret lies deeper. There are nuances that few understand. And it's precisely these details that make the difference between those who have desires and those who realize them. The first nuance is this: visualizing doesn't mean desiring something out of need, but rather contemplating it from a state of abundance. Many people visualize and think, I want it, I want it, I want it to happen. But this desire, which arises from the awareness of not yet having it, sends out a signal of absence. And the universe responds with absence. Here, the esoteric becomes scientific. The quantum field doesn't respond to your words, but rather to the vibrational state that maintains your energy field. If you vibrate in scarcity while visualizing abundance, you send a contradictory message. The result? Nothing moves. True visualization happens when, as you close your eyes, you transform yourself into what you have already achieved. It's not about desiring health, but about being health. It's not about seeking love, but about vibrating as someone who loves and is loved. You're not visualizing to achieve something, but because you already know the frequency of the desired event. So you're not asking, you're remembering. Another key point is the difference between visualizing and imagining. Visualizing means bringing something you've already perceived into the present, thus reactivating sensory memories. The colors of a place, the shape of a face, the texture of a fruit. Imagining something, on the other hand, means creating something you've never seen before, changing the image, modifying it, and going beyond what's familiar. Both skills are powerful, but they activate different areas of the brain. Visualization activates the already known reality. Imagination activates unexplored possibilities. The two must be integrated, because by clearly visualizing a memory and then transforming it with imagination, you create new lines of reality. For example, visualize a scene you've experienced. A park, a conversation, a meal, and then imagine that moment had a different outcome. Change the colors, the mood, the words. You're literally training your mind to become the editor of existence. They create new neural pathways and thus new possibilities. But there's a silent enemy, rational doubt. The left-leaning, analytical mind interferes with phrases like, "That's not real. You're just playing with your mind." And that's where the process breaks down. So before you visualize, you have to tame the part of yourself that needs proof. Don't cancel. Just invite him to rest. Tell him, now it's not your turn, because the soul doesn't need proof. It needs presence. Transformative visualization happens when you not only see the scene, but also perceive it as true, without the world needing to confirm it. Because everything that has ever manifested, a city, a technology, a relationship, a work of art, first emerged as a vision unconfirmed by the physical world. Can you capture an image even if reality doesn't yet reflect it? If so, you're closer to the art of mystics, magicians, and true creators. This is the ultimate secret. You have to put an end to your vision. Many people visualize goals as if they were a formless hope, an open wish. But the subconscious needs closure. Period. When you see that your goal has been achieved, close it with emotion. It's done. That's it. Don't forget it. Don't say someday. Set a point. Feel the relief of someone who has already passed that point. This is the energetic signature the universe needs to obey you. Being able to visualize is an art. But living like someone who visualizes is an even greater mastery. Because what happens in a few minutes of meditation is just a spark. True transformation is solidified in daily fire. In the way you think. In the way you speak. How you choose. How you react. Here are 5 important tips for integrating the power of visualization into your everyday life. Not as an isolated technique, but as a way of being in the world. 1. Visualize not out of urgency, but out of certainty. The most common mistake is using visualization as a cry for help. I need to change that now. But from a vibrational perspective, urgency radiates a need. Your practice will be more effective if it becomes a ritual of trust, not a request. Visualize with a calm mind, as if you've already signed a contract with the universe and are now just waiting for the mail. 2. Create space for manifestation in your environment. Dedicate a corner of your home, no matter how small, to your visual practice. It could be a chair in front of a candle, a symbolic image, a special stone, or even music that puts you into the alpha state. This place becomes charged with energy with each session and, over time, becomes a vortex into which reality gives way. 3. Speak as if you are already living in the frequency of your vision. Words are blind. Every time you say, "I can't," it's difficult. I hope that one day you'll write lines in an energetic script that the universe will take literally. Start speaking of your achieved vision, not as a lie, but as alignment. Don't say, "I want to be healthy." Say, "My body regenerates every day." Don't say, "I hope to achieve that." Say that it's coming to me now because I already have it in my head. 4. Eliminate anything that contradicts your vision. Every action has a vibration. If you imagine wealth but act out of fear of spending, you sabotage your work. If you imagine love but live detached from your sensitivity, you destroy the bridge. Congruence is the most powerful energy you can radiate. Live as if your vision is already becoming reality, and you will see it come true. 5. Rejoice in the signs, not just the results. The universe doesn't always answer yes immediately. Sometimes it responds with synchronicity, intuition, and small movements. If you only celebrate the big things, you'll miss the whispers along the way. Learn to recognize the signs. An inspiring conversation, an insightful dream, a magical coincidence. You acknowledge that reality is already entering your consciousness. Remembering is easy. You are not a spectator of life. You are your secret architect. Every image you gaze upon with love, every word you speak with intention, and every decision you make based on your vision shapes the invisible lines of your destiny. After taking this journey together, the question isn't whether visualization works, but whether you're ready to remember how to use it. Because this power isn't new. It's as old as your soul. It's just been silenced by the noise of the world. For the voices that told you reality was rigid, objective, and unchanging. Voices that forgot the essential. Everything visible was first invisible. Nothing exists without first being conceived. Every form arises from a pattern. Every pattern arises from an image. And every image arises from the thought that rests in the womb of consciousness. This is how creation works. And you are not excluded from this process. In fact, you are the protagonist. You've seen that visualization is neither a fashionable technique nor a superficial self-help tool. It's a sacred act, an inner ritual in which your mind becomes a paintbrush, your emotions become paint, and the universe becomes a handkerchief. They have understood that proper visualization doesn't mean wishing from afar, but remembering from certainty. That visualization doesn't mean imagining a distant future, but experiencing it as a fulfilling present. And that is perhaps the most profound thing of all. You've understood that you don't need permission to co-create your dream life. Now it's time to apply this knowledge. Don't wait until you're ready. Don't wait for ideal conditions. Visualize from where you are with what you have, because true power doesn't wait outside. It reveals itself within when your intention touches the center of your mind. Reality will change when you change your perspective, not with your eyes, but with your heart. The inner image precedes the outer form. This is the mystery understood by the ancient sages, and it returns today as a haunting whisper. If you can see it in your inner world, you can call it into your physical world. Now you decide what to do with this power. You can keep it like a secret jewel in your chest, or you can use it with humility, purpose, and reverence. You can continue to react to what's happening or begin to draw from within what you want to happen. Every time you feel lost, return to stillness. Close your eyes, breathe, and visualize as if you were remembering the inevitable. Because if you truly see it and feel it with your soul, it's already happening. And if this message has touched you, if it has ignited a spark deep within you, subscribe to this channel, like the video, and share it with other consciousness seekers. May this knowledge not only remain with you, but spread like a wave, awakening many more people. The world doesn't need more spectators. It needs awakened creators. Will you be one of them?